Everyone, welcome to another episode of Independent Artists Unite song series. I'm joined today by Talking to Shadows. We've got Ron here and possibly others as the show goes on. We'll see. We'll see how lucky we are. But Ron, thanks for joining us.
No problem. No problem.
Um, I found out about you guys from Renee's Nocturne Zine, the issue he did on the DC-ish digital zine he did, which I thought was a really cool concept.
Yeah, we were really excited to be part of that. I think that's great that they have those zines to promote that area.
Yeah.
DC's always been a very vibrant music scene. It's had a very good Gothic community.
Mm.
So we were really surprised to be in there, I mean, historically it's always been difficult, in my opinion, for Baltimore bands to kind of move into that area because it's just always been very competitive.
Oh, really? Even between Baltimore and DC?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
from my opinion,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
always been like a separation,
Oh, interesting.
where
Yeah.
it's been hard for independent artists from Baltimore to get in there. But there's a lot of friendly people in DC for sure.
Yeah. And where are you in Baltimore? Because I actually grew up in the suburb of Baltimore, Maryland, called Phoenix, Maryland.
Oh yeah, I know.
Phoenix there, Timonium, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're I live in Baltimore City.
Okay.
So yeah, Carolyn lives actually a couple blocks from me.
Okay.
So
Oh, nice.
yeah, everyone else lives more out towards where you're talking about. Like
Okay.
Alex lives out more your way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I went, well, of course, I went into the city for the Inner Harbor was the big attraction. And the big
Yeah,
when the tall ships came in for the in
yeah,
1976.
yeah, right.
The big celebration there.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of
Pre
dangerous now.
yeah, pre-aquarium days.
Yes, definitely, for sure.
So tell me a bit about how Talking to Shadows started. You had mentioned before we started recording, it was you and Carolyn. Oh no, it was you and someone else just at the very start, right?
Yeah, it was myself wanting to try to get back into music after a very long absence.
Mm.
And it's been kind of my like seemingly endless struggle, not so much anymore, but because I'm very happy with the stuff that Talking to Shadows does.
Mm.
I was always in search of playing Gothic music.
Yeah.
So I always had trouble finding other musicians to play that specific type of music. So I decided to kind of meet halfway, maybe,
Mm.
because I like a lot of different things. So I figured, okay, I like the guitar sounds of some of the early shoegaze stuff,
Mm.
and I see how
Yeah, I could
that,
hear that in there. Yeah.
yeah. So then I'm like, because I like that guitar sound, then I would probably feel comfortable playing some of that style of music. So I reached out to try to find guitar players because for me, the guitar sound was the most important thing,
Mm.
that I found to be the connecting element.
Mm.
So this person responded, I met up with them. They wanted to do some shoegaze stuff. I said, cool. Okay, so we started hanging out at his house, just trying to create music with a drum machine and recording some stuff. And then, of course, we need a singer. We've reached out again. Then Carolyn showed up. And then, once she got there and I heard her voice, because again, I'm looking for a very specific of a specific sound, and I
Mm,
tend to know it when I hear it.
yeah.
you when I hear that thing that I like, right? And so Carolyn shows up. She had never really sung for a band before ever.
Wow.
So she's real nervous about doing it, but she's really into music. She was doing a lot of music by herself.
Mm,
More of, I wouldn't say necessarily electronic kind of music, but it's music, you do in your house, like on your computer and stuff. And she's very talented in it. And
yeah.
it's totally different from what Talking to Shadows does. But I knew she had that kind of sound that I wanted.
Mm,
So we did that for a while. And then the guitarist, he ended up developing, I forget what you call it, but the thing where you get the ringing in your ear.
oh, tinnitus. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he got that,
Mm,
as time went on, and then he had to bail because, the as we all started developing, the music started getting louder.
right.
And yeah, he couldn't handle it. And I'm like, well, we're in a band, we have to play at a volume. Oh, it's so he ended up leaving, and then we're again, me and Carolyn just like, okay, what are we gonna do? And we reach out, again. And then that's where we run into Greg. Greg sent me a little sample of his guitar playing and songwriting and stuff. And again, once I hear the guitar sound, I'm like, this is great. I'm like, this is exactly what I want,
Mm,
that real, like, a lot of effect on the guitar, you
mm,
know. Um and I knew right away. I was like, that guy's good. I could tell that he really knew how to play. And we met up with him. Then it was just the three of us, like, just messing around for a long time,
mm,
trying to write songs, working on songs that Carolyn and I had already done. Um, and then, we went through a couple drummers, and then Greg was like, oh, I know a guy that plays drums, and he doesn't have a drum kit. And he hasn't played drums in forever, right? But if we can get him some kind of a drum kit, he might come up and play. So Carolyn had this real beat up drum kit, and he comes up and he's like playing on it. It's all falling apart and stuff. And but I guess he liked it enough that he ended up buying his own drum kit, and then he just joined and he started playing.
oh, nice.
He, in my opinion, I think he's a spectacular drummer. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. He is good.
he
Yeah.
can, he can play,
Yeah.
for somebody that hasn't played in a long time, now,
Yeah.
this version of the band has been together, gosh, I think like 5 years, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's a nice run.
yeah, it's a slow process, but I think we're really starting to develop into the potential of the band.
Yeah. But that kind of lifetime for a band like you, where you're still going after 5 years, to me it says that the band is really into the music first and foremost, and just wants to keep going as an artistic venture. Because we were talking a bit about the scene in New York before we started recording, and I always found in New York is like you can keep a band going for like a year and a half or something, and
Oh
then
yeah.
if it doesn't blow up, then everyone's like, no, no, fuck this, I'm joining something else. And then like I was always the band leader, so then you need a new band name and a new idea, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I see nowadays bands staying together longer, but as you're saying, it's like back a long time ago, like the lifespan of the really good bands, the bands that I like,
Mm,
it would be 5 years,
mm,
5 years or less,
yeah.
you know. they might only put out one record, and they'd be like the greatest band ever, but they break up.
Yeah,
That's all they had. They
yeah,
reached their peak in 5 years.
yeah.
It's with us, I think it's just been, again, a very slow process that where, we spend a lot of time like writing songs. Like
Mm,
we, I think, know that the songs are there, but the ones that we agree on, we keep and we work on for a long time, and we develop them, and then we go in the studio, and then we just get them right to where they need to be. So historically, when we've been going in, we'll only record maybe 3 songs, 4 songs, because we spend so much time focusing on the song
yeah, yeah.
because we want it to be good.
Mm,
I don't, when you look at great bands, how many bands do you know when you say put a piece of vinyl on, or you're listening to a digital track or whatever? How many bands that put out a 10-song record, every single one is excellent?
yeah,
I only know a few bands,
yeah, yeah. No, that's.
right?
I'm
It's-
more often astonished that one song can be so good and the next can be such shit.
yeah, and it happens. And I always say, a perfect example of a perfect album to me is like Cure's Pornography.
Mm,
Every single song, there is not a bad song on that record. From start to finish, that there isn't a bad song, right? It's like few bands can create an album where there is not a bad song.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I think, yeah, I mean, I would throw Cure Disintegration in there too. I love every single song. I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, but again, Disintegration is a copy of Pornography, right?
I never thought
It
about
is.
that.
It is. He ran out of juice, right? Right. He ran out of juice. He's like, look, I know what works. I'm going right back,
Oh, really? I
right?
never thought about that before.
Disintegration's an
Yeah,
awesome album.
yeah.
It's an awesome album, but he's copying the vibe of Pornography. It's
Okay.
like that whole vibe from like Faith to Pornography, right? Those 2 albums right there. That's the real deal,
Mm,
After that, it starts kind of going like more of the dancier stuff,
mm.
more of the mainstreamy Cure
Some
stuff.
poppy. Yeah, yeah.
But every time you see him, like even if you look at, say, the Cure's like Blood Flowers, right?
Mm.
Again, he's going right back to Pornography.
Yeah, yeah.
He's trying to tap into that to pull some of that magic out of that.
Oh my goodness, we've got someone coming in.
Oh no! Oh, here she
Drum
comes.
roll.
Da-da-da-da.
We have a name.
That's from.
Oh, we got a check mark.
Oh, we got something.
Something's happened.
Oh my God! Look at her.
This is welcome. Welcome.
Is I was awake and then I fell asleep again.
This is the first time. This is the first time that I've started a show and then someone's joined while in the middle of it. So this is exciting.
Wow.
Well, we've been talking about you. I don't know if your ears have been burning at all. But now, well, I say my compliment till now because Ron was saying that he wasn't sure what he was looking for in a singer, but he just knew that when he heard you that you were it, you know.
Aw.
And he was talking a bit about how the early flavor was a kind of a shoegaze thing with the guitars and stuff like that. And it's interesting because when I was listening today, some of the music reminded me of those kind of bands except my problem with those bands often, and I'm not going to mention any specifically, but is usually that I don't like the singer. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, what's what's going on? Oh, can they really? And for me, I have to be able to relax. You know, I think because I'm principally a singer first and foremost myself, I need to be able to just relax and really enjoy a singer. You know, and know that they're totally kind of in the pocket and secure with what they're doing, and it's just like a beautiful sound, you know? So that's
Yeah.
what I was experiencing with you today. And maybe that's part of what you were hearing when you first heard her run.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's the things again, it's like I'm primarily interested in Gothic music, but because of the time that I grew up in, it was the Jesus and Mary Chain, the Cocteau
Mm,
Twins, all that kind of stuff, and then even when you start getting into the 90s, the early 90s, it's like Mazzy Star, all that kind of stuff. So when I'm looking in that direction to combine sounds,
mm,
I'm looking for that real wispy kind of vocal thing, that real soft, like you say, like relaxing, soft kind
mm,
of vibe, and and again, that's what Carolyn has. That I find that very unique,
mm.
that a person can naturally, like I said, she never sang before, but came at it from that approach.
Yeah, I find that remarkable, actually. Yeah,
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 so
because
Thank you.
you sound so secure and comfortable with what you're doing, you know. And that was what was translating to me, and then I could just relax and let it wash over me, you know, instead of
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds wonderful that's wonderful to hear that it helps you to relax. That's great.
And it's actually like you're saying, Ron, it's really a great pairing, her voice with the music.
yeah, I think it's genuine, and it's authentic. It's not like fronted,
Mm,
you know, like like where she's coming in and going, okay, now I got to be a shoegaze person,
yeah,
right? It's just who she is.
yeah, yeah,
It,
exactly. Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
it's not like a fake kind of affect.
yeah. Um, well, let's dive into Soma because it's good timing because we actually haven't gotten to talking to the song yet that you showed up, Carolyn. How did Soma come together? And walk us through the creative process of that.
So the creative process, it usually follows a pattern where Greg will bring a melody, a guitar melody,
Mm,
and then I work on the melody line, the vocals, and then Alex and Ron will just do their thing, to add their elements to it, which is
mm,
awesome because I I just think I'm very proud of everyone in the band. Um,
yeah.
so Greg just brought the guitar um track for Soma, and then I just applied the same recipe in a way, like just where I worked on lyrics and the melody line.
Mm,
um and usually, like, I like to check in and say, hey, how's this going? You like this direction? And I
mm,
hear usually everyone is supportive,
yeah,
or they'll suggest small changes.
yeah. And how do you approach like the melody? Do you like start with like oohs and ahs and just try to get a feel for it, or do you go with the lyrics right away and fitting those in?
So usually I have to do the oohs and ahs, and I'm working out syllables and where, how many syllables fit here,
Oops, sorry,
uh
guys.
what this part wants to do, whether it wants to go like higher or lower. And there are sometimes when a melody is so strong I can't do anything else. It demands to be heard. I don't think that really happened in Soma. But it was just a very gentle kind of accompaniment with the music that I was going for. And so that was, it wasn't very, you didn't have high highs or, any peaks or valleys.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like an overall vibe kind of feel to it.
Right. Like kind of like just riding a wave or, the surface of a body of water almost.
Yeah, yeah. And what so you're doing a blueprint for the melody, and then you kind of are you kind of like, well, what is this making me feel like from a lyrical thing, or do you have a book of lyrics that you write regularly on, or do you do it for each song kind of thing?
Yeah, and so with this song, it was actually unique because Greg sort of brought the inspiration, like he provided the inspiration for the song with he had been reading a book by Aldous Huxley, A Brave New World. So, and I haven't read that book, but he was talking about in the book there's Soma. And so I looked a little bit into what that was. And so then the lyrics became a little more targeted, but I do have a book of lyrics that I'm constantly working with and adding to. So that's usually where I, like once I get the syllables for the song, I go and I try and plug in words, from the book of lyrics that I have that match. But this was actually a little different because I understood that the inspiration came from Soma. And so then I began to think a little bit, more, okay, so from this perspective, and then that shaped the lyrics.
And I'm curious, Ron, because when I was like reached out to you, said, oh, I think maybe we'll talk about Soma, because we really what was special about it where you thought, yeah, this is the song to talk about?
I think for me, when we recorded the song, it's about the feel of the song and the way the song go. It's all about the music in it. I think was so good. When we recorded that song, I was like, this song is so good. I was like, I know it. I know it's like Jay that records. I was like, Jay, I know this song is great. I know it. It is. Jay's been all over the world playing music, and I'm like, dude, this song's great, and I know it's great. It's like, because it's that good. It's just like that song. That was the song I really wanted to push out in the front, because I really believed in it. I thought it was, at the time, one of the best things that we had done. It was the strongest musically and vocally, and the lyrics I thought were great. It's especially the opening part of it. Those lyrics, I was like, those lyrics are going to connect. I just felt that they would. And that song today, I mean, we recorded that song, I don't know, Carolyn, it's been like a year or so, hasn't it, since we did that? Right. It's been
Time flies, so I can't believe how long
yeah. That
I
song,
can't believe how long we've been staying together.
yeah, that song has continued to thrive. I mean, that song is a hard-working song. I mean, we put it out in July, and the song is still working on its own. We don't even have to pay it. It's it's still reaching people, which is what we wanted it to do, which we want all of our music to do. But that song really spoke to me
Yeah.
as something that I thought was a great song and a great accomplishment by the whole entire band.
Mm, yeah. I'm curious what how much time you spent like playing it live, you know, like in a rehearsal studio or something before recording, because it sounds like when I was listening to it, it sounds like a song that was played live many times and honed and then recorded. Was it like that, or was it a short time between writing and recording?
I don't know. I think we definitely played it live, probably for a couple months,
Mm,
maybe, but not very long. Usually when we have these songs, we'll get a couple of them, like I said, like three or four,
mm,
and then it's like, once we feel that they're good, we'll play them for a couple months, and then it's like, okay, we've got to get into the studio. We've got to record these songs, right? Because we're ready to move on to the next. It's like,
yeah,
we did those songs like a year ago. We just recorded three new ones because that's really all we had. We had three songs. We're turning them over really fast, but it's we go in, we record, and now we're already working on new songs.
yeah.
So we're probably going to go back in the studio again after the first of the year, and by then we'll have like maybe three more, who knows. Then we go and we just we record them and get them ready and then decide what we're going to do.
Mm. And do you guys have a like a philosophy at all of how you release music? Because like for instance, I used to like do way too you know what I think now is way too much music and just keep putting it out. And then it couldn't like reach people like you say, you know what I mean? So I actually learned from like this guy that I'm working with that's much younger than I am. So I learned the new way of doing things, it seems, which is like to put out a single, you know, and try to give it some life with the promotion. And then you know, so now I'm ending up putting out a single every, you know, like 6 weeks or something like that. Do you guys have a philosophy like that of how you put out the music in order for it to reach as many people as possible?
I mean, Greg usually handles that.
Okay.
Like Kat and I, we don't really get involved in that. Like Greg is like the mastermind behind that.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's nice.
He
That's great to
does,
have someone like that.
yeah, he does all the like the promotion stuff. As far as deciding when to put things out, what to put out. We
That
do
could be
a
why you guys are still together because you don't argue over shit like that.
no, I mean
It's just his job to do it.
well, yeah, well, I'm very technically challenged, so I know my spot. I don't even go mess with that stuff. I don't have time to understand that. So I'd rather give it to somebody who likes doing it and is good at it. He knows how to do like the promotion stuff. We agree on what we're gonna put out as far as the music goes,
Yeah.
you know, then he just goes ahead and does it.
Oh, nice.
And like you're saying, it's learning as we go. Like, you put a single out, you want, to let it breathe, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
let it get out there, because in this day and age, the internet, it's huge, right? So not everybody's going to see everything at
Yeah.
once. So it's got to make its rounds. It's got to go through, because somewhere it's somebody's first time hearing something,
Mm,
right? They're not necessarily searching for you. They just come across you,
mm,
right? And it's whatever time they come across you. And and our strategy is, I think, to put a single out and then keep things active, whether it's doing like little reels, like those little movie
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
whatever, just to keep things moving, keep shows coming as we can get them. As far as our release stuff, we'll probably put a single out early next year
Mm.
to kind of coincide with the festival we're playing in New York. So
Oh, nice.
because our goal with, my goal, I could say my goal is to get someone to help us put out vinyl.
Mm.
Um, we're currently doing all of the recording and paying for all of that ourselves, right? So, we have the product, right? We just want help with like pressing vinyl, distribution,
Mm.
things like that. Of course, we could do it ourselves, but it'd be nice to have some support,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because our thing with New York, one of the things with that is it's to get the exposure and to hopefully somebody will see us and be like, wow, I like that. Hey, I'll kick in for some vinyl if you kick in for the recording or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's how we go about releasing things. It's like strategic, because we want the single to start working before we hit New York, right?
Yeah.
So that we get the publicity, we get some write-ups, we get some stuff going, and then we come in there, and then those write-ups or whatever, then we have something to show somebody. We say, look what they said about something we just put out, right?
Yeah. And Carolyn, I'm wondering that Ron said right beforehand, you guys just live a couple blocks away from each other?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was that always the case, or did you end up moving closer once you were a band?
Yeah, no, that just happened that way.
It just
We were
happened.
both, yeah.
So you're like, this is a singer for our band, and she's 2 blocks away.
Yeah. I
That's
wonder if
pretty
that's
cool.
like Baltimore. Like Baltimore is not huge.
Not huge,
It's
yeah.
like it's actually kind of a small city, yeah, I would say.
Yeah. So do you guys are you ever like
Smaller neighborhood.
are you ever like talk to each other being like, hey, I got an idea, come over? Idea for a song?
No, but I would like to hear more ideas on.
Yeah. Again, she knows how to work the computer stuff. I don't. Yes.
I do like, well, Ron will just shoot like a baseline to the group text here and there. I like that when you do that, Ron.
Yeah. What we do is, because Carolyn is really good with the computer software, and so is Alex. Alex is great with it too.
Mhm.
Is like somebody will have an idea. Greg will have a guitar idea, or Alex will have a guitar idea. And they'll record it and then send a file of it. And then Carolyn will mess with it,
Oh, nice.
on her.
Oh, that's great. You guys have, I can see, it's just interesting to me that you guys have been together for this length of time, and you also have these defined roles, I really think that there's a connection there, for any bands watching that are trying to hold it together, it's very great. I think it's a great idea, or it's a great coincidence maybe that everyone really knows what their job is and kind of sticks to what it is they do, because then you're not then there's infinitely less arguments about things.
Yeah, I think it's knowing what you know and being
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
it's like I know a lot of like the gothic stuff. So that's where I focus, right?
Mm.
And then Greg will focus on the shoegaze stuff
Yeah.
because I know nothing about shoegaze stuff, right? So then that's how we bring it together to where we play with a wide range of bands.
Yeah. And and then what influences do you feel like you have, Carolyn? Are you just,
Yeah.
what kind of vocalists did you, like listening to growing up, or did you kind of model yourself after anyone?
When I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to listen to the radio. Um, I grew up in a very strict environment, and so
That sounds
um
like some Footloose action right there.
I know, and I've never seen that movie. And I hear that reference a lot. It's like I missed a lot of culture. I
Yeah.
missed a lot. Like so much that I don't think I'll ever be able to make it up. I can't backtrack and like watch all of it. So but when I was in my early teens, I was really big and I started to do my own like rebellious and just start listening to music. I was, just whatever, done with it, done
Yeah.
with the rules, but I was
Hmm.
listening to like Enigma and Enya and Deep Forest and
Okay.
world music really.
Mm.
So that's where I was in the 90s. Of course, I was listening when I heard it, like I did love Mazzy Star in the 90s. And then
Mm.
Temple of the Dog and Pearl Jam and those kinds of bands like grunge, and Weezer. Um,
Oh, Weezer,
but
yeah.
at that time I was not even thinking about being a singer.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting, though. But I can hear some of those, like you said, Anya and some others. This like ethereal thing and that kind of smooth uh, vocal with a lot of air in it and stuff. That kind of I can hear some of that in there. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And I'm wondering, Ron, what do you think? Because we were talking before we started recording that we're both kind of old salty dogs with a history. What do you think about this new the way things are now with Spotify and the digital age, and everyone's got a home studio, and compared to how it was when we were just starting in bands?
Um, I think it's great for whatever people want to do. Hmm. Um, it's just I like more of the warmth of the analog stuff myself. Um, I've always been a person that was like, if if I can't do it live, then I'm not doing it, right?
Mm,
As far as my approach to studio work.
yeah.
And I've been that way since I was a kid, it's like I'm not really big on like the studio trickery stuff. So, and then that leans itself more to the analog stuff.
Mm,
I I I just like being able to present an authentic type of performance that
mm,
is easily replicated and doesn't rely on a whole bunch of super advanced technology stuff. And I understand that people do great things with computer stuff and all that. That's fine. It's just not really my thing. I like being in a studio and still the working with other people type of thing.
yeah.
I think that if you were to sit in in your own home studio, and Carolyn might be able to speak to this more than me, I would think that eventually you would just start to kind of sound like you. There's no influence, there's no other outside thing. It just becomes this weird thing where it's just you.
Mm,
And I like having the input from other people that can kind of tweak, because it's
yeah,
kind of
bounce
like,
off each other. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like you can talk yourself into anything. You can talk yourself into ridiculous stuff and go, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And then that's all you produce is that, you know? And then you wonder why no one's digging it, you know? Because you need somebody else to go, dude, that's not that good, you know? And then you go, well, why isn't it that good? And now you're in an argument, and that's okay. Because we all learn, you know. If it's just you, then you think everything's great and everything's linear and it sounds the same and it doesn't breathe. It's
Mm.
all in a box, you know. It's like I that's just not my thing.
Yeah, yeah. And Carolyn, when you're at home, like with your home studio, are you is it all for talking to shadow stuff, or do you have your own do you do your own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
your own music as well?
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but I was releasing electronic stuff under Pi May, and I can relate to what Ron is saying, how it's all you, and you get
I can too. That's why I'm laughing so
stuck
hard
in
because
like this echo of yourself, like because that's what
yeah. But
it's true.
what did
And
you say
like
that
when
I think
and
it
it
broke up?
actually that's
Okay.
what caused me to look on
Oh, to work with others.
yeah, so
Yeah.
oh right, so I that's what caused me to like look on Craigslist for the other projects. I was just so sick of myself at that point. Like, I need more. And I was doing studio tricks.
Yeah.
You know, like I chop and loop.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. I'm a chopper and a looper.
Mhm.
But what name did you say you
Mhm.
released it under?
Pi May. It's Paimee.
Jaime. Okay. I want to check that out too.
Mhm.
And any listener, Jaime, you want
Okay.
to check that. Well, now I've kept you guys for quite a while. I usually try to wrap it up in 30 minutes here, but well, thank you both for joining and talking about Soma. And yeah, it was great to meet you guys. And I'll be looking forward to what Talking to Shadows does next. And mention the festival you're playing in New York. What's that? What is that one?
It's called Colossus Festival.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of bands, evidently from all over the world,
Mhm.
Okay.
that are coming to play. It's kind of like a South by Southwest kind of vibe.
Okay. Nice.
So they evidently do it in the Lower East Side. So it's a whole bunch of bars kind of thing, like South by Southwest, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's like showcases.
Yeah.
So they have these bands come in and play, and industry people and stuff like that. So we're really excited about playing that, and we're grateful that we were accepted to play.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Well, good luck with that, and we look forward to hearing the new single in the beginning of the new year. And yeah, I'll be following you guys on Instagram at any rate, and looking forward to what you do next. Thanks again.
All right, thank you for
So
having
much.
us.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.